All right, hello and welcome to another special edition of Backseat Ballers Inside, where we get out of the car and we come on into our podcast studio here, where we, generally just kind of blow our political opinions out there into the wild world of the internets. And today we're following up with Skylor, and we're getting an update. We're just this is more of like, I don't know, it's kind of like free love.
Yeah, a little free form.
Yeah, free form. We can just go wherever things take us. But give us an update since we saw you last.
Well, since you guys saw me last, Stag Home's been doing well. But I also launched a pool company because that's been something I've wanted to do for quite some time. And then just kind of through looking at other acquisitions, I've now acquired a electrical company as well. I only own a minority ownership in that because I'm kind of one of those guys that believes that everybody should win.
Yeah.
And so instead of going in and buying a company, I know that I can scale reasonably.
Do they let you buy minorities still?
No, I don't think that's. I think we're the minority at this point, aren't we?
Yeah, you bought a minority stake.
And so, he just, instead of him having to lose all the money I lost and make all those mistakes over and over and over again,
yeah,
I've spent enough money at this point putting all of our systems in place and making it so I can scale our general contracting business, that now I can take all of those systems and plug and play them into any trade business that exists.
That's awesome.
And so that's what we talked about, and he was excited about it. We had a great dinner with him and his wife to kind of finalize everything a few weeks ago, and we should be hitting the ground running here in about a week.
Sweet. So can you tell us the name of the company? You got to wait a week.
Oh, no. So it's Arc Flash Electrical.
Oh, okay. Right.
Nick Hubble's the owner. He's a great guy, real down home, As you, I'm sure, are well aware in the business world, things don't work on a handshake anymore, but that's the kind of guy he is.
That's awesome.
And so now that we're putting contracts in place and stuff like that, it's more of this is a safe hold for him and me. Where we both have accountability and all those things.
Yeah. You can adjust that. It takes a minute to kind of figure out like how you like it.
Yeah. And so I'm really excited about it because what we can do there is just most electricians, I don't know if you've ever been through a new build or if anybody on the podcast has been through a new build or even a remodel. You'll kind of have electricians or plumbers and things like that. Like they'll be running things and they'll just drill a hole right through the HVAC vent and just run something right through there, even though they're not supposed to. And so that's kind of where where it's advantageous for other builders to use Arc Flash, is because we're putting our systems in place. They will know exactly what to do and how to operate.
Awesome.
So
and you said you can apply this to any trade
I
business?
can apply this to any trade company that exists. My project management software, our SOPs. I mean, the SOPs to a degree outside of field operations.
Yeah.
But office operations are pretty much all the same.
Yeah.
With small varying degrees. But yeah, so we'll be about in 30 days. We'll have all of our systems real set, and things will be really good. Where we put automations in, and we've done a lot of things like that. And so it's going to be really, really fun to see what we can do. I have the consultant who's been doing all of our AI stuff. She has agreed to stay on full time.
Oh, nice.
And so I'll just be paying her, and we haven't decided on all the acquisitions we're going to make yet, but at least in the trades I want to have, we're talking about drywall.
You're going to try and like vertically integrate, so you come in, you can do everything. You got somebody for everything.
No more. Because the toughest thing in construction right now is that for me, I'm trying to take care of people, not just the construction aspect, because I started this business because I saw contractors treating people like crap. And I saw so many horrible things happening that I wanted to change that. And so in that vein of trying to make sure we can control the entire process and create a really good experience for the client when you're essentially tearing up their home and they've got to live in a construction zone, which is never fun. This just helps me control pricing, control scheduling, while also helping another business grow and help them achieve the dreams that they have too.
Yeah.
So that's really what it's about, is just about the people. But, of course, for our efforts, we always have to have a little bit of stake in the game,
Of course. the minute you remove money, you remove the ability to truly measure whether or not you're successful, whether or not your product or service is wanted, needed, useful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been the hardest one for me because coming from, I've built 14 businesses at this point.
Wow.
But only 3 of them I owned.
Okay.
And Stag Homes is the only one still operational.
Okay.
The other ones were, back when I was a young kid, I had a metal sculpture business because I was like, I'm into art and I'm into welding and all that stuff, so I'll just do this. And then the other one was a brewery consulting firm where I have a background in microbiology, and so I was out building and operating breweries and teaching people how to make beer and streamlining operations. So anywhere from a business plan clear through doing some growth on things we did. And I've done some R&D with a couple of the top 10 breweries in the country. And
wow.
I'm under NDA, so I can't say who those ones are. But
Cool.
it's been a fun life. Being back in construction is never where I thought I would be, but I'm the happiest I've ever been.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I literally just talked to a business owner. He's our age.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just see he's just done.
Yeah.
Just done. And he knows it. And he says, my employees deserve better. And so he's going to sell.
Oh, okay.
Because he just isn't, it's just Heart's just not in it anymore. You
Yeah.
know? And it's good when somebody can recognize that. And it's good when somebody can put themselves in the position you're in where you're, like you said, you're the happiest you've ever been.
Yeah. It's not for any lack of suffering and heartache and just grinding it out sometimes.
Yeah. So what do you think? Right. So I want to get into a couple things. We're gonna throw them out here because I have a tendency to have all these thoughts pop into my head and then I forget about them later. Mm-hmm. So one thing I want to talk about, you mentioned your person who's in charge of AI or heading up your AI for you. So I want to get into that. But what I really want to get into is what do you think it is? So you said you never thought you'd be back in construction.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said you're the happiest you've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would have thought the happiest you could ever be is while getting paid to drink beer.
That was an enjoyable time in life, yes. It was literally in my job description to drink.
I mean, there's only a few other things I can think of I'd like to get paid for more, you know?
Right, yeah, like me, like I got hops and barley, which are the 2 ingredients in beer, and I got them tattooed on my hands so I could pray to the beer gods.
That is awesome.
I did that when I lived in Utah. I was doing a brewery up in Utah, and the Mormons hated us being there. I built the first real brewery in the town we were in.
Yeah.
And they hated it.
Yeah. Well, as a Mormon, I always joke, I would never want to live in Utah because there's too many fucking Mormons.
Yeah. Oh, it was a culture shock for me. I mean, honestly, it's my favorite state I've ever lived in.
Okay.
But it was definitely a culture shock.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like, so I think, and I say this about everything. Like, I'm a right-wing extremist. I don't really hang out and talk to other right-wings. Most of my friends are diehard leftist liberals, right? I grew up Mormon. I love the ideology of the Mormon faith. I do not want to hang around Mormons all the time. Like I would hate to be anywhere that's completely homogenous, right? Mm-hmm. Like to me, the great thing about life is the diversity of it all. And I'm not pro-diversity in the normal sense of the word. I think that's the biggest scam and lie ever fed to people. I just mean like when it naturally occurs, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
And I don't really find myself enjoying the places where it's extremely all one group, right? Now, there's something I wanted to talk to you about the last time we were on this. Did you ever notice in Utah, you have all the Mormons, and then it's like you have to have all the, I am screaming at you, I'm not Mormon, right? It's like,
there were some of those.
It's like, and I'm going to comment, and you might think this is dread day. It's not, but like, it's like I have to cover myself head to toe in tattoos. They're on my face. They're on my neck. You have the gapped ears. I got to have the gapped ears. I got to wear the clothes. It's like because you're the absolute minority in Utah when you're not Mormon, right? It's like 67 or something % Mormon, I think, in the state.
Oh, I just thought it'd been more than that.
Yeah, it used to be in the 70s. It's slowly, probably with an influx of people fleeing California.
Yeah, there's a lot of California.
I think it's decreasing. But I always thought it was interesting that and maybe it just they stand out more or something, but it seemed like in order to like make sure if you weren't Mormon, you had to make sure everybody knew you weren't Mormon by looking a certain way, right? And it seemed like it was more extreme. And I don't know if it's just because I don't know if maybe they're not, and it's just that the dichotomy, like against the backdrop of Mormonism, they just stand out more. But I was just wondering if you felt the same way living there. Or?
No, actually, I felt very welcome there for the most part. I loved living there. I was actually in a really small town. We were in the only town in Utah not founded by Mormonism.
Okay, where
we were in Vernal.
Oh, okay.
So we were like 35 miles from Colorado and 70 miles from Wyoming. So where the little cutout is in the corner,
yeah.
that's where we were. And it was pretty much, for the most part, there were because the people that I saw were definitely your LDS. We had some of the FLDS.
Yeah, the fundamentalists. Yeah, the plagues, baby.
We had some of those living across the street from us.
Yeah.
And then there would be your typical drug addict you get everywhere. And then just kind of everybody else for me.
Okay.
I mean, in that small town, it wasn't as bad. When I get up into Salt Lake or Park City, you start noticing.
Oh, geez. Yeah, it just seemed like you really had to stake your flag that you weren't Mormon. And like I said, it could easily just be against the backdrop of Mormonism. It sticks out.
Yep.
I just wasn't sure from somebody else.
Growing up there, that's definitely something I saw with some of the kids that we had hired in the brewery side and in the front of the house staff for the kitchen, that those were things that they battled with.
Yeah.
My favorite story is my youngest daughter. Her name is Brewer.
I love your kids' names, by the way.
And so she was born up there, and one of our friends who's former FLDS had her son the week before, but she was still there. And so we were in there talking with her, and it was her first son, and he was the 153rd grandchild.
Holy Toledo Batman.
Yeah, her dad was one of those guys that had like 20 wives, and each one of those wives had 20 kids, and those kids had 20 kids. Just kept going.
That's incredible.
For me, the thing I always told people was like the hardest thing for me living up there was white people doing everything. Because it's predominantly white. You go into 7-Eleven, it's white people. It's mowing lawns, and they're doing everything.
Here, it's just Chick-fil-A where all the white people work.
Right? Yeah.
And Whole Foods.
And so I told my wife when we were moving back here, because we're from here, and when we were moving back here, I was like, babe, the first place I got to go is 7-Eleven. I was like, I need to see an Indian. I'm tired of white people.
Oh, that is awesome. That's hilarious. So, so when I started my mission for the church in Southern California, and one night, we're tracting, we're going door to door, and which is about the most unpleasant experience you could ever have in life. And we knock on this door, and nobody answers. So we walk out around, and we cut across the driveway, and the garage door's up, and there's a pickup truck in there, and the tailgate's down, and it's two guys that had just got back from fishing. And they were finishing off their beer that they had, right? And so I was like, oh, Mormons, you guys got all them wives. And I'm like, well, yeah. I'm like, dude, what do you think we're doing out here? And they look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you think we do this stuff for no reason? I said, see, the way it works is 2 years gets you one wife. Each additional year gets you another wife. Or you can turn the years in in sets of 2 for upgrades on the first wife. And I just deadpanned it straight faced them. And they're like, oh, holy cow. I'm like, yeah, that's why I've been out here for 8 years doing this. I'm racking them up. And we walk away, and this other, because when you're on your mission, you go in twos.
Right.
The other missionary he's just like shaking his head, and he's so mad at me. And he's like, and you call each other elders, Elder Omenson, right? He's like, Elder Omenson, this is why people think horrible, crazy stuff about us. And I look at him like, buddy, no, they thought the crazy stuff before we showed up. Now they just had a laugh, and it was funny. And like, they're going to remember that was a chill, entertaining, fun conversation. I'm like, you really need to relax. Like, people are thinking crazy shit about you, whether you say it or not. Why don't you lean into it and have a little bit of fun with it, buddy?
Absolutely. We the thing that my wife and I always talked about was like the worst place you could get sent for your mission would be Utah.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we live kind of on the outskirts of town. We had the foothills and the mountains right in our backyard, and this was before we were married. She was pregnant with our daughter, and a couple of missionaries showed up, and she's like, "Oh, I don't think you want us." She goes, I'm living in sin. She goes, I'm pregnant, and my boyfriend makes alcohol for a living. And they were like, oh, okay. But then the next day, 2 elders actually came by.
Oh, no way.
And they're like, hey, we'd love to talk. And we're like, no, I think we're okay for now.
Well, so here's what's funny about that. And, we just did a Backseat Ballers. We filmed Friday. This is our very first female Backseat Baller.
Nice.
And our very first Mormon Backseat Baller.
Cool.
Okay. It's going to be an incredible episode. She breeds exotic pussycats.
Really?
Yeah. They sell for $20,000, $25,000 a pop.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah. And it's gonna end with this great shot. And I shouldn't give it away, but this will probably come out after that. But she drives an orange drop top Lambo. And the license plate reads Miss Meow.
Okay. that gets some people's attention.
Yeah, right. And their son is 19 and he's serving his mission for the Mormon church. And guess where he got sent to Orem, freaking Utah.
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah. But one thing that is always surprising to me is it's one of the best places to get sent as a missionary. Not just because you have so many members there to support you, but it's the highest baptizing missions in the U.S. are Utah. And I never would have guessed that. But yeah, they actually get to have a lot of opportunity to teach people and baptize people in the church in Utah, which I never would have guessed. And last year, oddly enough too, because I thought in America like religion is on the decline significantly, and last year, for some reason, there was a huge resurgence of people going to church, and the Mormon church actually broke a record that had stood since the 80s in converts joining in the United States.
Well, if I remember right, I think it was last year or the year before, I heard that they were the fastest growing religion.
Yeah, they hadn't been for long. They had been in the 90s, and then it really dropped off. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what they did.
The Mormon wife shows or something like that.
There's a lot of people going, hey, honey, you should watch this show with me. I think they have a lot of good points. Just think if we got another one that liked doing laundry and you didn't have to do laundry anymore.
Right. Well, my wife was obsessed with the FLDS people. So where we lived right across from us was a ranch. And we'd always see him. We'd see, a bunch of kids and a bunch of women, but it was only him all the time. And occasionally we'd be in Walmart, and they for people that don't understand, I guess they kind of dress more like
the Amish, the
Amish, and the
Mennonites. They retained a lot of the old ways.
But we'd be in Walmart walking around, and there'd be one of my wife would be trying to like sneak around the corner and like look around the end cap, It's just like for us, we've just always been interested in religion in itself. Like she grew up really Catholic, hardcore her whole life. I did. My grandma's side of the family was Christian. My grandpa's side of the family was Catholic, so I did both.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm more along the lines of you, where we've just kind of got our views, and we don't go every Sunday or any of that. I choose to spend my free time that I do have with the family, and that's how I support everybody there. But I just like learning about other religions.
Yes. Oh, it's religion, money, and politics are my 3 favorite things.
Politics, I'm just kind of, anymore, it's just, I don't know. I'm over it. Once you start learning things,
it's easy.
Just like,
It's easy to get over it. I guess what my point is, the reason why I like those 3 things is like, that's where you really get to figure out how people think and what drives them, and where all their blind spots and biases and where all their logic breaks down and all that kind of stuff, right? And you get to see it in politics, you get to see it in religion, you get to see it with money. Like those 3 things, people have a really hard time aligning their belief system with reality.
I'd agree with that completely.
And I love getting to like see that and really delve into it.
I do too. My wife doesn't like it when I do those things. I mean, most of the time I make it about business and money, but just because those are the things that drive me and make me happy.
Yeah.
It's that challenge.
I actually posted something the other day. I thought it would have got way more traction, but I love shit stirring on the internet.
I might like that as well. Yeah. I don't do a lot of it.
Yeah. So I really expected this post to get more traction, but I went to ChatGPT and I asked it, I said, analyze Catholicism, Protestantism, Judaism, Mormonism, and tell me which one provides the best foundational like identity and chance of success and happiness and fulfillment and marriage, money, and whatever, you know, in children. And it went deep into things and pulled research from Pew and all these different sources and stuff, and then said it's Mormonism. And
I mean, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Until you get into the background of what parking is, and you know,
there's lots of there's lots of there's soaking, parking. There's lots of anxiety and porn consumption and all these things, right? There's lots of negatives in that. Obviously, it didn't go into. My point wasn't any of that. It was just that, like, I was trying to like get a conversation going, right? Nobody would take the bait.
I get people too. So the one that I'm really hard about is my two oldest kids are mine from my first marriage. I have sole custody of them.
Okay.
And I've helped 5 of my male friends get sole custody of their kids too. That's one of them being my banker.
Wow.
You know, and so I have very strong feelings on the family court systems and things like that, where I just don't. My thoughts don't align with most people's.
Okay, no, isn't this crazy? Like, we know statistically there is no difference in outcome for a child raised in a 2-parent household or by their father.
Correct.
But the minute that kid goes to being raised by just a woman, they're absolutely fucked.
I was one of those kids. My mother was one of the women that didn't want men involved.
Yep.
And so she chose to never get married and all of those things. And so I grew up without a dad in low-income areas, in places that weren't, you know, the best, and around people that weren't the greatest. And, you know, I've got a lot of the people I grew up around are in prison or dead or, you know, what have you. And so I vowed that when I had kids, I wasn't going to let that happen no matter what. And so, but I grew up and I came close to ending up in prison. I did lots of things that should have landed me in some pretty horrible places and possibly dead. And so I was definitely a statistic. And so I think I understand that statistic more than most do, because if you haven't lived that life and
you wouldn't
been
know.
around it, you wouldn't know. And so I have some very strong feelings about that, and just child support and things like that in general.
Yeah.
To me, I honestly think child support should be abolished.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the kids.
No. And that's what I was talking to a woman about that, and she was like, you know, she didn't really understand what I said. I'm like, well, here's the problem, right? And this lesson about money holds true in so many different areas, right? Money is fungible. And so many people don't know what the hell that even means, okay? But it's just quite simply, if somebody comes to you, everybody's had this happen to them. Somebody comes to you and they need to borrow money to pay their rent. And you give them the money to borrow to pay their rent. And then like a week later, you see them out at a concert or the bar or the casino, and you're like, hey, or the strip club, and you're like, hey, wait a minute. Well, I thought you needed money to borrow rent, to pay for your rent. You're like, well, yeah, no, I did, but I had another $100. So, well, wait a minute. Why? I just paid for your bullshit, right? And this is true in the welfare system, right? This is why welfare is so toxic.
I grew up on welfare. I have some strong feelings about that too.
Yeah, yeah. Because I can give you money for this, and it's true in politics when Barack Obama sent $500 million of cash over to Iran, and this is just for humanitarian. Well, motherfucker, you just made it where now you can take $500 million that would have gone to humanitarian needs and can move it over to terrorism. It's fungible. Money's fungible. So when you give a woman money for child support, and then you see her getting her hair done and her nails done and whatever, where did that money come from?
Right.
That's supposed to be the child support money.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. No, I mean, I know everybody has to get some things done, because there's not saying that dollar went to her nails or any of that stuff, but realistically, it usually does. Like in my case, I chose to leave my ex-wife, and her dad was an attorney, so I knew I couldn't fight anything, and so I ended up not fighting much. They sent the papers. I was living with my grandma. I moved into my grandma's house, or moved into my mom's house, but they delivered the paper to my grandma's house because that was the address they had, and I was there when the sheriff got there. I was like, hey, hold on a second. I was like, can you just wait a second? I said, how about I just sign these and send them back? And he's like, you serious? I was like, yeah, that's how done I am, man. Like, I'm out. Like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
When I left her, I had a 430 credit score, $500, my truck, my tools, and my bicycles. And that was it. And then 11 years later, I think things are pretty well, you know? So, but with that, I guess where I was going with that on the child support side of it was that when I was only without my kids for about a year, maybe a little longer, between fighting for custody and all that stuff. And I was paying child support. I was paying $780 a month or something for child support. I'm a certified welder, and so I've got an associate's degree in metal fabrication. I've been to business school, but I don't have any other degrees. I've got a background in microbiology, but it's not a formal degree. It's just through different certifications and stuff. So my education's not that great. My ex-wife, however, has 2 bachelor's degrees, one in finance, and then she got a nursing degree, and she was talking about going back to school to be a lawyer and all that. Well, once I got custody, guess what she paid? $300.
What?
Yeah. Well, because she wasn't working, and it was that kind of a thing. It was like, but what she was capable of producing.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're capable of it.
It was huge. And so, but then it flips onto the side of what a lot of people don't know is with Title 4D is that for every dollar the family courts issue, that is $1 that the court gets in grant money from the government.
No way.
So if a judge wants a raise or he needs a new secretary or whatever, like, oh, you know what? I'll just order some more child support and I'll get some extra funds in through grants because I've ordered more child support. Most people don't know that.
No one. Who would know that?
Yeah, when I was fighting for custody and going through that stuff, when I do anything, I obsessively research and I just dive in and try to learn as much as I can as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And so I'd learned a lot, and that was one of the things I'd learned, and so it was very disheartening.
Wow.
And so but the hardest part for me was my ex-wife had turned into a drug addict. She started doing drugs with like pills when she was pregnant with my son.
Oh, wow.
And she never was before, so I didn't know that was coming. It just came. It just happened, and I fought it for 2 years trying to get her to stop, and it didn't work. And so then when I was finally done, her family was very upset. And I was like, these kids need to go with me. But they wouldn't let them, obviously. And so then I ended up moving to Utah and doing the brewery up there. And I was actually in Colorado at a craft beer conference. And or it was Great American Beer Festival, one of the biggest beer festivals in the world, outside of Oktoberfest, I think. But her mom had called me and said, hey, she almost killed the kids. Like, she was so high driving. And I'd known this had happened a bunch, and I'd always call. But with her dad being an attorney, he'd show up to the wreck, give her his car, she'd leave with the kids.
You've got to be kidding me.
And he'd stay there with the cops. And so I couldn't ever stop it. But finally, she got popped. And they called me, and so I drove down to get him. Well, I grabbed him, and we were driving back to Denver. And I was literally bawling, just crying, calling the DA, telling him, like, you need to fucking hang her. Like, I've been telling you guys about this for over a year.
Yeah.
And then I'm almost to Denver, and the courts call, and they're like, hey, we're not doing anything because you've been talking to us, but your kids are wards of the state. You don't own your kids anymore. Like, you need to bring them back. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, well, I'm in Denver. It's like, I can't do anything about that. I was like, I'm going to stay the night in the hotel, and I'll come back tomorrow. Well, then we get into the courtroom, and the guardian ad litem, which is the attorney, for those that don't know, that's the attorney for the kids. And then, every attorney, all the social workers, everyone said, let dad take him, send him back to Utah. The judge said no.
What?
And that started a 9-month, $60,000 fight.
Holy shit.
Yeah. To prove that I was a good dad.
Yeah.
And even though she had been wanted in the surrounding 100-mile area,
Yeah, they keep giving it to her, but you got to pay $60,000 and fight to prove that you can have your own kids.
Yeah. And it was just because of the judge. Everybody else wanted me to have them. And then once we finally get to the last court date where I finally won and they were giving me custody, the judge started crying. Because I packed that courtroom with my grandparents, my brother, my mom. At the time, before she was my wife, it was my fiance. It was her mom would come up and sometimes her sister. So I put as many people in that courtroom as possible to show the kind of support system we had.
Yeah.
And come to find out, his daughter was fighting for custody, and they were going through it. And so I think that's why he didn't let me have it, because he wanted to give her the best opportunity possible to get it back.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. It was like, so much for being objective.
All right. Yeah, no. So I'm not going to name names or nothing, but I have someone fairly close to me. No, I mean, I thought the woman was nuts from the get-go. But you know, a couple previous kids and then a couple kids with him. And what blew my mind is how lopsided it is in favor of the woman.
Oh, yeah.
He was there for visitation at the house. He's playing in the living room with his kids. His wife goes into the bathroom, calls the police, tells them he's armed and threatening to kill them. The cops come to the door and take him down in front of his own kids. No weapon on him. Not armed. Everything's provable, blatant falsehoods and lies. Is she arrested? Is she put in jail for this? No. Mm-hmm. Then later claims rape, that he raped her previously to them being separated. And I had to go to the court as support, as one of those people. And you watch this person to every question that could possibly exonerate him or help him. I was in a mental fog state.
What does that mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to every question or attorney asked her that would lend like some kind of credibility to her case, perfect clarity. Perfect clarity. I'm like, watch this. I'm like, first off, you're a proven liar. You have wielded the court system not just once, but multiple times where, you know, I mean, though nothing was more blatant than the cops kicking in his front door and taking him down in front of his children and him not being armed. But like, how does the court system keep allowing you to pull one bullshit tactic after another out of your hat? And now it's like, we're sitting here watching this. I'm like, there's no one in their right mind that can watch this and think it's credible. Mm-hmm. And he's facing rape conviction and all this horrible shit. And I'm just like, this system's fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it happen a lot. My banker, actually, he's, you know, I knew him on a professional level, not on a personal level, but just through my interactions with him. And then once he got into the divorce and stuff like that, which his wife initiated.
Pretty much they're all initiated by women these days.
I think it's like 83% or something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She started doing the same thing to him, but he was able to prove it. But again, it's one of those things. Is like, why are people not held accountable when they are proven to lie in a courtroom? Whereas if you were lying directly, you know, if it was like, I don't know, if it was another law enforcement officer, or if it was a judge or something like that, and it was against them, they'd go after him.
Well, yeah, and then here's the other thing too, right?
Nobody cares.
He has to pay money to defend himself. Mm-hmm. She gets to use tax dollars to attack him.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because she's on assistance probably.
Well, not only that, but it's the prosecuting attorney that is a government employee.
I guess that's true. Yeah, I wouldn't think about that.
She's not hiring people and pursuing him civilly. She is making up criminal charges and getting the state to prosecute him. Mm-hmm. And then he has to borrow money and burn everything trying to defend himself. Mm-hmm. I'm like, how is this the system?
You know, that's what I think about. You know, I mean, I think the system has its successes and drawbacks and everything else, but it's like anymore, I think our government's just been alive too long for it to operate efficiently.
No,
and do the right things anymore.
No, and that's why I vote the way I do, because I believe that every entity, whether it's a corporation or a government or a charity or a grassroots whatever movement, they all grow and grow and grow. They expand the scope of what they were started for. They accomplish their goals that they started, but they have to shift them so they don't ever pack up and call it a win and call it a day. They have to try and acquire more funding and more employees and more people. And, you know, it's just like this cancer. And it goes from ever like whatever it was meant to do to just existing for the sake of existing. I think churches do it. I think nonprofits do it. I think governments do it. I think agencies within the government do it. I think departments and corporations do it. I think corporations do it. And yeah, we're well past. And that's why Thomas Jefferson said you just got to slaughter everybody 100 years and start over.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree with that in some cases. You know, I mean, there are certain things that get me going a little bit.
Well, yeah, and you look at things and it's like, it's one of the reasons why I love business, right? Mm-hmm. Because in business, there is a natural environment that causes you to contract. There's natural consequences that regardless as to what you think, want, believe, desire, hope, reality hits. Mm-hmm. And you can either conform to it and adjust or you're done. Yep. It's over with, right? Yep. I tell people all the time, I think that America today is just this collection of people that are all falling out of an airplane and they're plummeting towards the earth. And every one of them is screaming about how gravity is homophobic, racist, sexist, misogynist, whatever, right? They all have their excuse that gravity is some kind of injustice against them in particular. Mm-hmm. And then they hit the ground and die, and the gravity didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because gravity's gravity.
Yeah.
Now, if they'd ever stopped screaming about whatever little niche offense that they're somehow extrapolating from gravity and actually thought about gravity and how it works and the different laws and principles that it's operating under, they could have built a parachute, an airplane wing, or whatever and defeated gravity and lived. But they're so caught up and so focused on this personal slight and affront to themselves, they would rather scream about whatever weird, fucking made up bullshit,
right,
than actually deal with the problem at hand, right? That's the society I feel.
No. I agree with you wholeheartedly in that. Business changed me completely. Growing up super poor in really high risk, low income areas. You know, I was one of those people growing up that was like, no, you need to give everybody everything and everybody needs help and yeah. You know, and then I struggled and I tried to make businesses work and a couple of them failed because I didn't really try, you know, and that was the main reason. But then when it came down to it and I really had to get after it and just grind, it was through businesses when I started being like, no. Like, it's completely possible. You just have to suffer a little bit.
You do.
And when you were talking at the beginning, you were like, you know, you're saying I'm doing something that I never thought I'd do again, and I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
I was always chasing happiness, and I never, ever found it. And this is what I teach my kids, too, is don't chase happiness, chase purpose. And once I found purpose within my business, and it was a couple of years of just grinding, me out in the field actually doing the labor with the guys and doing stuff, but then I actively chose to lose money because I was like, I know if I'm not on site, mistakes are going to happen.
Yeah.
But I made that choice to get out there and start trying to work on the business instead of in it.
Yep. That's one of the hardest transitions people have to make.
Oh, it's tough. It's real tough. But it was just the fact that I just grinded so damn hard for 3-4 years before anything really started to happen. And luckily my wife supports me wholeheartedly, and she takes care of the house and everything else. That's awesome. I just have to concentrate on the business.
Yeah.
And
that's a powerful gift she gives you.
It is. And nobody appreciates it enough. And I feel like too many women, because she gets to stay home, it pisses me off because she still has this complex in her head. Like, am I doing enough as a woman? And it's like, who gives a fuck what these other chicks think?
Yeah.
Like, these other chicks are miserable.
Yes.
You know? I mean, to me, it's like, I feel like our life is pretty dang good.
Yeah.
You know, like we have our struggles like everybody else does with daily things, you know, of just the grind of dealing with kids. You know, I'm dealing with my son. It's been a week back to school, and now we're dealing with porn on his computer at school, you know? So it's like
son, it's for your cell phone. Come on.
Well, I just told him someone, I was like, don't be lying to me, man. Like, I don't care if you did it.
No, I know. I tell all my kids. Short of coming home and telling me you're a Democrat. Just don't ever lie to me.
Well, I know he's lying to me. The principal called my wife earlier, and we had a conversation. So, I just told them, I was like, they're going to pull all that data. I was like, you cannot escape the digital trail. And so they're like, nope, we're pulling all the data and we're going to figure out exactly what's what. And he was I guess AI has a clothes removing tool.
Yes, it does.
Okay, I didn't know that.
wait. Okay.
I guess that's what the president said. She was like, or the principal said. She was like, yeah, he was trying to log in with his school ID to some school computer or to his school laptop to some AI clothing removal tool. And now I'm like, well, he convinces me he doesn't like any of the girls at school, so what's he doing with it?
Well, he doesn't like them with their clothes on.
That's quite true.
He wasn't lying to you. With their clothes on, it's a whole other story.
Yeah, that's probably true. I'm always messing with him, but he doesn't.
So you know how I found out about that? Literally last week, every Monday we do we just go through all the different department meetings. Mm-hmm. And the first one's got everybody. And my ex-wife is telling me about how her boyfriend uploaded a picture of her to chat to Grok.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And told Grok to like make it sexy or something. And Grok AI'd the photo to where she lifts up a dress and it's full vag.
Oh, wow. Holy cow.
Yeah. And he's like, what the heck is this?
Man, these kids these days are spoiled.
Oh,
I had to
kidding me?
I had to wait until try to turn it to Cinemax when it was all fuzzy. And,
yeah.
My grandparents didn't pay for it.
No, I remember we wore the VHS out from Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh,
pan down. I mean, we wore that VHS out of that spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Weird Science, Showgirls.
Yeah, Showgirls. Yeah. And kids these days, it's is it Chris Rock or somebody has this bit where he talks about getting called into the principal office over his son. They're like, we think your son has ADHD. And they look at me like, he doesn't have ADHD. He's got HD titties in his pocket on his phone, and you want him to pay attention to math class?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's another thing I just gets me going too is psychology and the medication. Like, I hate medication. Yeah, I have trouble taking my blood pressure medicine.
Yeah.
But I have ADHD. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was younger, and they tried to put me on Ritalin.
It's a superpower.
And I didn't like it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I tell everybody. It's like, it's a superpower, and I can teach you how to use it. It took me years of failing and not recognizing what my triggers were and how to shift it and use it in the proper manner.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I still don't look off to the side and do something completely zone out in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah.
That actually happened the other day that was real funny, which you'll probably get is, so in my office, the top 3 quarters of the windows have blinds, but the bottom quarter doesn't. And you can see the sidewalk out front. Well, we're doing a team meeting 2 Mondays ago, something like that. And I'm just talking, all of a sudden I look over and I just quit talking. I'm looking and I went, squirrel. And everybody was like, what? Because they were just thinking it was one of my just figurative squirrels.
Yeah,
and they look out,
literal.
and it was a literal squirrel out there, and they're like, oh my God, it was an actual squirrel this time. It's like, yeah.
That is awesome.
But, I've learned to use it. Like the guy I'm training to be my chief operating officer, or not me training him, I've got our coach doing that with us. I didn't know it until she really started pointing a few things out that he's slightly autistic. I was like, no wonder he could focus so dang hard and just knock out, all these things. Like he's just a rock star.
Yeah.
And it's like, so everybody thinks these mental dips, I guess you would want to call them, or whatever you, I don't know what you
just call them isms.
Yeah. It's if you understand what they are, you can use them.
Of course.
To achieve some wonderful things.
Yeah.
And so that's why I hate when people go, no, we need to medicate this, we need to medicate that. It's like, just get out of here with the medication.
Yeah.
Like, let some kids go play around in some dirt, let them get muddy and, break their leg on a 4-wheeler or something.
Yeah, right? So when I was a kid and I got put on Ritalin, it terrified me.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I distinctly remember being able to sit in the back of the room. So I love to read. I grew up without a television for the most part. I was on Channel 4 News when I was 9 for not having a television. And I was reading this book called The Biography of Simon Kenton.
Okay.
It's 900 pages. He helped settle the frontier. And which I think has been proven to the author just made up a bunch of shit, actually, which is interestingly enough. But I think it was my second time reading this book at the age of 9. I'd already read Tale of Two Cities and The Count of Monte Cristo and War and Peace and Great Expectations and all the rest of the classic works. So I just loved to read. Had no friends, total nerd. And I remember being put on Ritalin and being able to sit in the back of a classroom and read a book and then have 100% recall of everything that the teacher had gone over. And I was like, no one should have this power. Like my mind was like, it was like operating at a level beyond which I just thought should be possible. And then I didn't, so I stopped taking it. And something that happened to me was if I was on Ritalin, I could recall what I had experienced while on Ritalin. But if I went off Ritalin, I could not recall what I had experienced while on Ritalin.
That's interesting. I took it a couple of times. I was like, I don't like it.
Okay.
Like it made me feel, honestly, for me, it made me feel high, like I was on drugs.
Okay.
I mean, you are.
Well, you are.
But for me, it didn't work that way. So like, I didn't have that kind of ability, but like what I do have is I can absorb an insane amount of information.
Yes.
And be able to dissect it and then apply it.
Yes. And I think that's ADD, ADHD, whatever you want to call it, right? So I actually started selling all my ADD.
That's what I did too.
And I made a hell of loot.
Yeah.
So when the movie Limitless came out, and I saw it for the first time, I was like,
I love that
shit.
movie.
I'm like, I think that person who came up with that plot had experienced with Ritalin what I experienced, because that's how I felt on Ritalin. It was just like, I just felt like I was in God mode. And I just didn't think anybody should have that. And I just wouldn't take it myself because I just felt it was so terrifyingly like powerful, and I didn't want to be dependent on it.
Yeah.
So my daughter, she's just turned 16 August 15th, and she came to me, one of her friends got put on Adderall or some other ADD med.
Yeah.
And she's talking about how great it is for her. And so what I told my daughter was, I'm not against drugs. I'm not against any drugs, to be honest. What I told her is, like, you should first try to learn how to operate within the way that you are and identify the strengths. There is no perfect way of being. Everything's got its strengths and its negatives.
Yeah.
You might find the strengths from the way that you are outweigh the negatives, and you might learn ways to minimize the negative impact. But if you just jump straight to medication, you'll never get to have that experience. You'll never get to go down that journey of trying to see if there's other ways to minimize the negative aspects while allowing the natural way that you are to be free. Now, if you try that and you exhaust all options and you can't get to where you want, then explore the drugs.
No, absolutely. That's the way I am. I mean, I think everything that's been brought to the world serves a purpose, but I think where it's actually effective is a very small percentage compared to, I can't remember what the astronomical numbers are of how many people are on some sort of medication in the U.S.
Yeah. Well, and her mom told her, because I think what you said, your and ours mine works a lot the same. And I know, and also I just want to preface this for anybody watching. I get told all the time that people think I'm just ridiculously intelligent. I'm like, no, you're confusing something, right? Just because my brain moves faster than yours doesn't mean the depth of its capability is greater than yours.
Right.
So one of my best, oddly enough, I had a conversation with, found out we weren't. I thought he was my best friend because I was a nerd who had no friends. But he always thought I was smarter than him. He's the smartest person probably I've ever met. Got to have dinner with the dean at MIT to try and get him to go there. Ended up choosing to go to engineering school in Southern California called Harvey Mudd, which is even more elite than MIT, and almost nobody's ever heard of them. But it was just because, like, our brains are like 10 steps down the road before you've gotten to step 2.
Yep.
But his ability to grasp a topic and to really like get into like the real meat of it, the complexities of things, was just mind blowing. It was just slow in getting there.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we made a really good duo. We did a lot of projects, school projects together and stuff, and it was always a blast, and we turned out great, incredible things. And I think it was just the combination. We did Science Olympiad together. That's how nerdy I was. But it was just the two brains, the one that's quick and one that's depth.
Well, so I think that's a big success to what Stag Homes is for me, is because the way Bryce is, he's more along the lines of your friend, where he can really dive in and focus and get down. He can really integrate things.
Yes.
Where me, I see things and I understand how it should work.
Yep.
But when it comes down to needing to implement the minute details, that's not where I'm good.
Yeah.
Can I do it? Absolutely.
Yeah,
but I'm luckily getting to a place where I don't have to anymore.
That's
awesome. I just get to focus on the big dreams and the big things that I see, and learning how to implement those, and finding people that like to do the integrations.
Yeah. So what does finally, I told you we were going to put a pin in it and come back to it, and I'm actually remembering, oddly enough, what does AI have anything to do with pools, electricians, and home construction?
So AI is never, well, okay, I shouldn't say never, because there's a lot of things we have that we didn't think would exist. I don't think that robots and things like that are going to be able to take over construction anytime soon. Commercial and new construction, potentially, but remodeling, absolutely not, because there is so much deductive reasoning that has to happen, and you have to problem solve with so many different things that it's very difficult. So, but where AI helps is what we're doing is we're training AI, like we're training AI to have my tone of voice and understand how I speak, what kind of points of views I have. And we're doing that with everyone in the company. And we're inputting it, and we're using different AI platforms. I do use Chat a lot, but we also have Ninja. I use Perplexity AI. We just use a bunch of different ones depending upon how we need them to be. But we input our SOPs in there. We input a lot of our company information. So like, instead of me having to sit there and spend 2 minutes writing out a bio when I'm opening a new account on some software or something, I just pop over to Chat, like, hey, give me this. And it just recalls what I have in there. I just copy and paste.
That's awesome.
And so it just makes us more efficient. Yeah. And then we're working on getting it to where it will be able to answer all the questions we needed to answer. You know, I did psychographics on Blue Heron Pools, which is the pool company, and then Stag Homes, which is our construction company. And so now it knows everything about those companies. And so anybody in my organization, or realistically, if you're watching this, go type in Stag Homes and ask it to give you the bio for Stag Homes in Lenexa, Kansas, or Kansas City, and it'll probably bring up exactly what I've put in there. And so anybody will be able to recall that information and understand. So if they have a question about us, they could really get into AI and find out.
That's cool.
Everything's in there. But then it also helps on site, because if I put all our SOPs and they know how to do something, like if one of our guys that's newer is out on site by himself, he's like, oh, what do you do? How do I install this vanity? He can type that in.
To ChatGPT.
And it'll pull it right up. It'll be like, okay, then it'll give him step by step of what you do, because I've written out those SOPs.
Yeah, how to Stag Homes install a vanity, and it's going to tell him.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so we're
just having to call you. How to install vanity.
Right. And so it's just one of those things of, could it be dangerous? Sure. But I think with the way we're using it is smart, and it's just going to do nothing but help us and help us provide a better service and treat people better.
Well, tomorrow I think I'm launching a construction company called Staggering Homes. I'm just going to tell all my guys, just go to ChatGPT and ask what to do. And send Skylor a thank you card.
But yeah, so I mean, it's you know, it's going to do nothing but help us. And I keep telling, so I have in-house designers. We do architectural drawings in-house, stuff like that. But I tell the girls, because our girls who are the designers also do our estimating right now. And they're just tired of it. I mean, estimating is the one part of construction that just sucks. Because if you're not right, you're going to pay for it, literally.
Yeah.
And I told them, I was like, well, I think within the next couple of years, we won't be doing our own estimating. We are already trying to train our software to know our pricing.
Yeah.
Like, we have thousands and thousands of line items. And we have been inputting, just this last week, Bryce and Melissa, who is our consultant, they've been working together to put all of our pricing into the AI platforms that we have integrated with Go High Level and some of that other stuff. And so once that's all done, then realistically, the AI could bid for us, is what we're hoping.
Yeah.
But then there's going to be software that does that too. But then all that does is just makes us more efficient to where now we work on the things that matter, which are the people, with the people side of it and the building side of it.
Yeah.
And we're not stuck in an office dealing with all the crappy admin stuff that everybody has to deal with.
Yeah. And so that's what I find funny. So do you think AI is going to be eliminating jobs or creating jobs?
Both. I mean, look at let's look at, Ford, right? He completely, within 20 years, an entire industry built around horses was gone.
Yes.
So it's like, but then look at everything that came from that. You had an entire transportation industry that pops up. You've got mechanics. You've got all these car suppliers, aftermarket car parts, because as men, we all know we can't keep them just normal. And so I think it could do both. I think it's going to get rid of the jobs that... Yeah, unfortunately,
men like to soup up and modify cars. Women like to modify and soup up their bodies.
Yes, you're not wrong. For me, I think it's going to focus people because it's going to do all the things we didn't need to be doing in the first place. But it's also, there's too many kids. Like, I'm one of those believers that I think college is a scam. I don't like college.
I hate it.
I mean, I wasn't good at school, but that's not the reason. When you look at the money that's put into it, and what your ROI is once you graduate,
it's horrible.
It's stupid.
No, it's so stupid.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
To me, and it's like, why would you go do that?
Yeah.
And it's unfortunately all these people are going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and most of them aren't going to get anything out of it.
No, you're totally correct.
And so, I definitely get into debates and get people upset with that one too, because I just think it's a scam. I mean, it's the one thing I've said to people, specifically educators. Even though I'm heavily involved in education on the trade side of things, I'm on education advisory boards. I go out and teach at trade schools. I try to help kids understand. I bring parents and kids together and get them in front of other tradespeople so they can make better decisions for themselves. So don't take this like I don't believe in education, because I do. It just needs to be the right education.
Yeah.
College, I don't think, is that anymore unless you're doing engineering or medical or something.
Yeah.
Something more
there's
specific.
A few industries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Law, medical, engineering.
Yeah. I mean, but basically, when you come out of school, all it did was my uncle, myself, and one of his sons were pretty much the only ones in our family that have done very well for ourselves.
Yeah.
And kind of changed the dynamic of what our history in our family always was.
Yeah.
But he told me when I was in college living with them, he said that when you really look at what people are doing and what they're saying, those two things never match up.
Yep.
If you can make those two things match up, you'll be able to destroy everybody in your path.
Okay. I mean, because that's integrity.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so, but that's not what's happening in schools.
No.
They're teaching them, in my opinion. So I've been in a lot of trouble in life. So I've been locked up. That was well over 20 years ago at this point. But I've been in those places. So I've been in a school setting, and I've been in an incarceration setting, and they look the same.
Yes, they do.
They feel the same. They operate the same.
Yes.
Outside of in a school, you're not locked in a room. 23 hours.
Yeah. So funny story, right? So I had, and you sit on the board, I think, of the I Am Foundation, or your business.
No,
partner
Bryce does. Bryce does.
And so I had the end of summer I Am party at my house.
Nice.
And for a lot of these kids, 120 of them are in the foster program, and they all come from, pretty significant poverty and really, bad environments. And so and so you kind of feel bad, right? They're out of my house, and we live on 10 acres, and the house is somewhat
nice.
Yeah. And they're out on my back deck, and we're grilling out, and we're eating, and everybody's swimming and having a great time and playing on the trampoline and riding the quads and doing all the stuff, right? One thing I wouldn't let them do is bust out the guns and go out to the gun range. I was like,
well, I bet you a few of them probably were pretty proficient at it.
Right, well, so you would think so, right? So I asked this. So one of the girls asked me, she's like, so, how'd you get all this? Right? Did your parents give it to you or whatever, right? And I looked at him like, and all the kids came around. So there's like 40, 50 kids there. And I'm like, so that is one of the biggest lies ever told. Rarely do people have what they acquired through inheritance.
Yeah.
And in fact, I told them, I feel like you guys have one of the greatest advantages that you can have, and that's disadvantages.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the chip on your shoulder, and it's the people telling you can't do it, right? One of my favorite comedians is this white guy, and he talks about how his best friend growing up was black, and he wanted to be some kind of like neurosurgeon. And he's like, this kid fought against everybody telling him he wasn't, you're black, you're not smart, you're dumb, you're lazy, you'll never be able to do this. And he goes, and you know what? That guy proved me wrong and accomplished it. Mm-hmm. That's the joke, right? Is that him the one telling him that, right? But so I looked at these kids and I asked them, I said, how many of you have been arrested? Raise your hand. Not a single hand went up. Well, first I asked them this. I said, how many of you think that because I'm a 6 foot tall, heterosexual, devilishly handsome white male, that I have advantages you don't? None of them would raise their hand. I'm like, come on, what? Y'all just lying in my face? You honestly, I'll raise my hand. I know that this is America, and it really wouldn't matter if it was America. There's nowhere on earth looking like me doesn't help.
Right.
There's literally nowhere on earth.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I will raise my hand and acknowledge that. Now, how many of you have been arrested? Any of you? How many of you have been arrested 4 times? Oh, my hand's the only one that's up. Right? Mm-hmm. How many of you have been to jail? Oh, my hand's the only one that's up. Right? How many of you have been evicted 3 times? Had their vehicle repoed? Oh, still my hand's the only one that's up. Right? I'm like, how many of you stayed in during recess in 5th grade and 6th grade and cleaned the cafeteria so you could get your school lunch for free? Oh yeah, my hand's the only one that's up. Like, so you can look at me and we can acknowledge that you probably needed to look at me to like overcome all those stupid decisions. But like it doesn't matter. Like it just doesn't matter. Everybody's got shit they go through. Everybody has challenges they have to overcome. Yours might be more visible. Mine might be less. Somebody's could be physical. Somebody else's could be mental. Somebody else's could be emotional. And you can't see a lot of it. In fact, they get harder to see the more you get into that path, right? From the physical to the mental to the emotional, right? But I was like, to look at people who have more than you and think that they were given it is very disempowering.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes you into a victim.
Yes. I've never been the victim. I always thought, watch me.
Yeah.
No, I was too stupid until I was about 30.
No,
to really apply it appropriately.
Yes. No, like 30.
Like the thing that I've been explaining to people, because I like I said, initially I was one of those people that was like, well, no, we need to have all these government programs to do this and help people. But when I got down to it and I achieved it myself, like there were people around me that helped me get here.
Yeah, of course.
And I always credit those people where they have done that. But it mostly was me just grinding.
Yeah, refusing to quit.
Sacrificing the things I wanted now for the things I want later.
Yes.
And the thing I've been proposing to a lot of people is everybody's like, oh, well, these billionaires need to pay taxes and da-da-da. Well, now that I understand tax strategy, it's like, what does it really matter? Those guys work their asses off and achieve something that very few people in this world ever do. I know you want them to give you money or whatever, but I said, instead of sitting here and making a Facebook post about how unfair it is, why don't you do what I did? I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out how those guys did that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
And then I can do things that I want to do to help people.
Yeah.
So and it's like, but I just don't get it. Like, people just don't do that. They want.
Well, and let me give you some really simple math.
Okay.
If you combined the net worths of every billionaire in America and took every penny from them, do you know how long you'd fund the federal government?
A couple of days, maybe.
Not even 1 year.
Yeah.
You'd strip every dime from those guys. And now, who's going to fund the billions in losses that Uber took quarterly for a decade? So you can now have a safe, affordable form of transportation when you're going bar hopping on the weekends.
Yeah, these kids don't know what it was like. But back when we had to earn our DUIs, man, getting left at a
Yeah.
party when you watch your DD get blackout, and you're like, oh no,
yeah. And now you just pull out your phone, you hit a button. But if there weren't billionaires that were willing to risk, literally, Uber lost billions a quarter for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Who's funding these? Like, it's just amazing to me, this mentality that's like permeated. And again, I'm just going to keep shitting on schools. Like, do you teach anything of value anymore?
Oh, so that's what it was that I was going to say. I see my ADHD keeps me sidetracked, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Is I said, if teachers knew everything, why isn't everybody wealthy?
Of course.
If they knew what to teach you.
Yeah.
They're like, well, that's not what it's about. Like, you're right. It's about teaching them to be good little worker bees and go out there and do what they're told.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So I read a study years ago, and it was reported on in the Wall Street Journal. And these researchers saw that in Northern Europe, you had a double-digit chance of being born to one socioeconomic level and climbing to a higher one. And it was 11, 12%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the best in the world, by the way.
Okay.
Okay.
I've never heard those statistics.
Okay. In America, supposedly the land of the free and the American dream, it's 4.6%. And so these researchers, though, one thing they acknowledge about the United States, right, we're different than Europe in a lot of ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, you could break us up like a Europe, right?
Yep.
And you have places like Mississippi and you have places like Utah. Very different demographics, very different drivers of economy, very different religious backgrounds, right? So they decided to break down the United States and look to see, is there anywhere in the U.S. that achieves the same rate of socioeconomic advancement as Northern Europe does? And they found something really wild. There's one state in America where when you're born, you have a double-digit chance of climbing to a higher socioeconomic level. And it's the state that spends the least per capita on the education of its population.
Where's that?
Utah.
Of course. Well, but it's about support, right? And believing in yourself. And
Well, it's about a very
not
specific,
depending on people.
To circle all the way back to the beginning, it depends on a very particular type of support. What was really interesting is in the Wall Street Journal, they would never acknowledge what it was. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was really interesting, that they refused to do it. But the closest they got to it is they said that now they accounted for race. It didn't matter. You could be black in Utah, you could be white, you could be Mexican. It didn't matter what your race was in the state of Utah. You had a kid, that kid had an 11% or something chance of climbing to a higher socioeconomic position. They said that the only thing they could determine is that Utah is the highest percentage of children being raised in a two-parent household.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I mean, living there, I can agree with that. I mean, that was my favorite thing about living in Utah when I had really young kids living there, was that the way they keep everybody out of drugs and alcohol and all that, largely in part, I mean, everybody has their people that do. But they always had something for kids and families to do every single weekend.
Yes.
And then on the flip side of that, where I don't believe in the welfare system and it being able to be used for such extended periods.
Yeah.
But I grew up on it.
Yeah.
I literally had stamps, like food stamps, going in and buying food,
Yeah.
At the grocery store and stuff. And then when I was in Utah, even though I had initially went up there as a consultant, I was working for the brewery. They called me in and fired me the day I got home with my daughter from the hospital.
You gotta be kidding.
But the thing that was great about Utah was everybody says, red states aren't good at taking care of people and all that, and they think they're not.
It's because they don't vote for government-funded programs.
Right. Well, there's that too, But what was very interesting to me is when I was in my early 20s, I'd filed for assistance once when I lost a job.
Yeah.
And it took me like 3 or 4 weeks to get money. And then it was all these things that I had to do here in Kansas, and it just sucks. And I know Missouri's kind of the same way.
Yeah.
But in Utah, I got home. My wife is upset because she just had a baby a few days prior. Now I don't have a job. We knew we were moving back here for me to build to work on helping build Limitless Brewing in Lenexa here.
Yeah.
We knew that was coming, but she was still a mess. And I was like, I'm just gonna go handle this. Instead of sitting there sulking and feeling bad about myself, I'm like, I'm gonna go handle it right now. So I found the numbers, got on the phone. Within 2 days, I had money in my account.
No way.
From the state.
Wow.
And we lived better on unemployment and food stamps than we did when I was working.
Wow.
Like, it was awesome for me because
Yeah.
it took us a while to get the house packed up and get moved back here.
Yeah.
So I got to spend the first 3 months of my daughter's life at home with her.
Yeah.
And then my older two, we were out. I had this old 90s Suburban that I just loved. Bought it for $600 from a title company up there. And it was just supposed to be my mountain truck, you know. But I was like, oh, crap, now I got to make this thing. It's got to make it back to Kansas.
Yeah.
So the kids that I was out there working on and stuff. But it was fun. I teach my kids to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And they hate me when we're out working on the property all the time. And they're, you know, using the four-wheeler to pull trees out of the forest.
Yeah, you got a nice property.
You know, all of those things. And, you know, my son told me, I'm moving out when I'm 18, Dad. I don't want to move any more trees. Well, you know, just the other weekend when the storm rolled through last weekend, we came home to a tree down, had to take care of it.
Yeah.
But then we started watching this show called Back to the Frontier.
Oh, okay.
It's some newer show, but they just take, you know, they always pick the worst people to go on those shows.
Absolutely.
But it was awesome getting to see the fruits of my labor and their labor, technically, of our kids, where they're watching these kids, and these kids just can't do it.
Yeah.
We could look, oh, we can do that, we can do this. And so it's like, yes, even though I've been really hard on them and they hate how hard I am on them, they immediately had confidence, like, I can do that. That's not an issue.
That's awesome.
And it's like, okay, that's where I'm trying to go. Because I'm trying to teach my kids to be the boss of everybody else's kids.
Yeah, of
like,
course.
While you're sitting here letting your kid go to school and do these things, and you're so worried about all this other stuff, like A's and B's and whatever else.
Shit don't even matter.
I'm teaching my kids to run your kids. So they're going to work for mine.
Yes.
But the biggest piece that I tell my kids is we still want them to have good grades because we want them to understand dedication to something.
Yeah.
And I just tell them, I said,
and doing shit you don't want to do. I got news for you.
Exactly.
There's things in life you're going to have to do.
Yep.
And just because you don't want to do them doesn't mean you shouldn't do them right.
So I don't sugarcoat it with my kids. I said that exact thing. I said, I wake up every day and I do the shit I don't want to do first.
Yep.
And that's why I got here.
Yeah. Eat the frog.
Mm-hmm. And so they understand that now. And so it's starting to get there. Now, my oldest, who's a senior this year, we were walking into the school before school started to go get her laptop. And she's like, Dad, I don't want to be an adult. It's like, too late, kid. You can't stop that one.
I don't want to be an adult. Yeah, it sucks sometimes.
But I was like, if you do something where you chase purpose rather than happiness, I said you'll find something good in life.
Yes.
And so I don't worry about it too much, but I just let them know, like, it's your habits that are going to get you there, not the grades.
Yeah.
Because I was raised to always think I was stupid, and I never thought that I was as smart as everybody else, just because when you're in those lower socioeconomic areas.
Yep.
And you're just led to believe that.
No, you are. When we moved from the poor side of town to what at the time was the rich side of town, middle of fourth grade, and I distinctly remember the school being like, well, we need to put them through a test to see how far behind we're going to have to put them.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't to see where I was at. It was to see how far behind I had to be.
Yeah.
Well, why did I have to be behind? What made it to where it's automatically assumed I'm behind, right?
Yep.
And then I tested out of everything all the way out of high school. Like I tested out of every class all the way out of 12th grade when I was in 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And then the jackasses wanted to stick me in something called Quest, and which is like their gifted kids program. And I'm like, like, I have enough problems as a nerd. And I'm like, there's one thing I will promise you, I will never do a homework assignment.
Yeah, no way.
And they're like, well, if you don't do homework, you can't get in here. I'm like, hallelujah. Now I guarantee I'll never do a homework assignment. Yeah. And that was the way my report card always read. It was like 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, the test, 100. 0, 0, 0, 0, the test. That would equal out to a 2.0.
See, I was a terrible student in all facets. I was in the behavior and learning disorder classes because I always was in trouble. And just the people I hung around, that's just what we did.
Yeah, of course. We had fun.
Yeah. Well, that we did. I was building lowriders and stuff like that. But my senior year, like I failed classes the whole time. Like I graduated with, I needed every single credit my senior year. And somehow I pulled it off, and I've never done that before. I always failed at least 3 classes every semester.
Oh, because if you need, well, that's the thing, right? And it's obvious through everything you've talked about, right? What you need to do, you have the ability to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that if there's no need for it, why am I fucking doing it?
Right. Yeah. The thing that was the funniest to me looking back now that I've gotten so into microbiology and the science of beer and alcohol in general was the one class I had to have to graduate was microbiology. Okay. And I didn't know anything. I didn't pay attention to science back then at all.
Yeah.
I didn't care about it, nothing. I was into cars. And I showed up my last day because my teacher was like, you need this to graduate. And he's like, you've got an F. He's like, but I tell you what, whatever you get on the final, I'll give you that in the class. I was like, cool.
That's a deal.
Well, being the dumbass I went out and got really high with my friends at 17 years old,
opportunity.
Completely forgot about it. I didn't remember that was the test at all, but I walk in and he looks at me and he's like, Skylor. And I was like, what? He goes, the final? And I was like, oh no. And so, but I sat there and I took it. And later that day, he called me in. I'm like, well, I guess I'm just going to leave because I'm not graduating anyway. I was 1 point from a B.
You got to be kidding me.
And I had never done anything in that class ever. Outside of a few things with the microscope. I understood how the microscopes worked and stuff like that. And he's like, what's going on with you? He goes, why haven't you been applying yourself?
Yeah.
He's like, you could have done so well. I don't know. It's like, can I go now? It's like, I'm graduating.
Yeah.
What was really nice about that is a lot of the kids that had much more opportunity than I did and always got better grades, or at least I thought.
Yeah.
Because our graduating class was almost 700 people.
Wow.
And, I guess it was like 400. I think it was like 400, I guess, something like that. But there were more kids that were more privileged as far as financials go for their parents. Yep. And the opportunities given to them that didn't graduate, and I was the one walking. Like that was the first time I felt successful.
Oh,
I always felt like a loser otherwise.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, I did that, and then I made a lot more mistakes over the next few years going to JUCO and doing all those things. But it was just really nice.
So do you ever look back at that thought process, right?
Mm-hmm.
And think like that you were wrong in your perception, right?
Yep.
It took me a while as an adult to realize I probably wasn't picked on and made fun of as much as I thought I was.
I was.
Right.
But I did things.
No, and I'm not saying you weren't. I'm saying when you told me you had this view of people as being wealthy and with opportunity, and then you graduated and they didn't, does that just make you, so it made you proud, right?
Mm-hmm.
And made you think you were smarter than maybe whatever, I forget exactly what you said.
I don't know.
But it made you proud.
I think there was like 70 or 80 kids that didn't graduate.
Yeah, but then did you ever stop and go, well, maybe those kids weren't as privileged as I thought they were. Maybe those kids' lives aren't as easy as I thought they were. Maybe those kids are struggling with some shit.
I didn't start thinking about that until maybe 5 years ago, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Once I think everybody should at least attempt a business because the things it teaches you, whether you're successful or you fail, it teaches you infinitely more than any other life experience will. And so I advocate for that a lot.
So I agree with that. I always say that the two hardest things in this life are marriage and entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
But I would tell you, I do agree with you that it's the business that teaches, because it covers a greater facet of things.
Mm-hmm. I get in trouble at home frequently, and actually 2 nights ago was one of those nights. She was struggling with the kids and getting them to listen and do stuff like that. And she's like, well, Lily's 18, and she's going to be 18 in a month. Like, I'm done just doing this with her. I'm like, I still do this with adults.
Yeah, what is there being 18 have anything to do with it?
It's like it's just something we have to deal with. Like you just accept it and move on. And then, but that was a very insensitive way of me responding
because
to that.
what she was looking for was she was looking to be heard,
Yes, and I did not do that.
and that comment dismisses her.
It did absolutely, and I didn't recognize that until after because we've done very well. We never fight. We don't do any of those things because we both came from such toxic relationships before.
Yeah.
That we try to over communicate. And so when I was like, okay, how should I respond to that?
Yes.
And she said exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Much. It's like, okay.
well, so I found out I was getting divorced, I think July 22nd of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't believe in like the hand of God doing anything for anybody, right? If you get in a car accident and you live, I just think that's just random dumb luck.
Okay.
Because I don't see why God's picking and choosing who lives and who dies. So in my mind,
I agree with that completely.
In my mind, it's just all random shit. All right?
Yeah.
So anyways, what's my point to all this? Sometimes though I do leave room. Well, one, I always try to leave room to be wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
That's one of my overarching life philosophies. Always create space to be wrong and be okay with being wrong.
Yes.
Okay. So I also leave space for, maybe it's not in the hand of God, but there's definitely some providence that occurs every now and then, right? And so I had this thing called the Landmark Forum scheduled. Literally. So my wife told me she was leaving me on a Saturday morning. And the following Thursday, I flew out to Seattle to attend this thing called the Landmark Forum. Now, there was two things about it that really were just helped me. One was it's in Seattle. So when I showed up, and I told everybody the last day there, when I walked in, I thought I had walked into the job fair for a carnival. That's the weirdest bunch of looking people I have ever seen in my 150 of them, and it was like it would take you a while to absorb the details. Okay, I ain't shitting you. I'm sitting next to this girl. She's got these ankle boots on and the tight jeans that don't come down all the way. And the first thing I noticed is those are some hairy ankles, right? And she's got these cute little watermelon earrings on and red nails and like shaved hair on the sides and back and curly on top. And you got to talk to each other throughout. So I'm trying to like look at her name tag and see what her name is. And it's half under the jacket, like on this side. So I could see the last few letters and it was THEW. I'm like, Thew. What girl's name ends in Thew? And the only name I could think of was Matthew. So this isn't a guy presenting himself as a woman, right? There was no woman. He didn't dead name Matthew and adopt Lucy. This was a guy presenting as a woman, but with his guy named Matthew.
Yeah.
Right? And it's fine. It was just like, and then another girl got up, one of the most stunningly beautiful women I've ever seen in my life, just raven black hair and beautiful cheekbones and this pale porcelain skin, and gets to the microphone and is like, so my question is, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, nothing that's that beautiful should talk like this.
Yeah.
All right. And it was just and then there's a guy literally dressed head to toe flip-flops, socks, long, like capri shorts, top, fishing hat, glasses. Every bit of it was lime green, electric yellow, and electric pink.
Okay.
Everything. The flip-flop sliders, the socks up to here, the shorts down to there, everything. I'm like, how do you get everything in the same pattern. Right? Oh, even his beard. His beard was painted that same way. All right? So that was the first thing. And I'll tell you why that was important to me in a second. But then just having been told after 21 years with 4 kids that I'm
out. Yeah.
out, it prepped me for a life-changing moment. Right? And so it's funny because they tell you in the beginning that within the framework of Landmark, anything is possible. And they have you get up and introduce yourself, tell a little bit about yourself, and talk about what possibility you would like to create within the framework of Landmark. And obviously, 7 days or 6 days, 5 days, right? Sorry, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So 6 days from having been told I'm getting divorced, I got up and I said that the possibility I would like to see created within the framework of the Landmark Forum is to rebuild and have a healthy, loving relationship with my wife and to save that. 36 hours later, you get up again. And I had gone through this incredible journey. I mean, total mental and emotional breakdowns, doubled over, sobbing, racked with grief, recognition of how wrong I had been about so much. And I got up at the end and I was like, yeah, that's not the possibility anymore. I am comfortable with this divorce occurring. But what I've realized is, well, I'm a judgmental prick. And the possibility, there's only one possibility that I care about anymore. And that's me no longer being a judgmental prick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's it. That's all I want. And it was such an incredible, to like come, to go on that journey and to like just realize like, gosh, you need a drink?
That's what I was doing, trying to drink a little bit of water. It's got something in the back of my throat.
Yeah. And I don't know why I brought that up. I can't remember what you had mentioned. It's something.
I was talking about my wife and me not being sensitive enough to what she was saying.
So my point to all this is Landmark put me down a journey, and I've done multiple other courses since. Landmark, I feel like I've learned more since being divorced than I had learned in the previous 46 years of my life. And Landmark taught me how to understand someone when they're speaking. It taught me how to communicate to them that they're understood and that they're heard and that they're seen. It taught me how to set aside my own, what they call a sea of opinions, and our need not to be wrong and our need to be right. And it's a journey you'll never fix completely. Pride and ego and all these things get in the way.
Yeah.
But I would have done exactly what you had done, and I still have done it. I did it with my girlfriend one time the last 1 year and 2 months. She was trying to communicate something to me, and I was very dismissive. I wasn't present to what she was saying, and she was not heard. She was not seen, and it hurt her feelings.
It's hard to do that sometimes because I'm like when we're in business and we do the things we do, everything has to be matter of fact, and you just got to accept things and move on. Yeah, it's hard to have that. Sometimes to bring that small piece of humanity back to it and have a little more understanding.
Oh, absolutely. And I came from the worst environment possible. The U.S. military.
Oh, yeah.
There ain't no fucks given as to what your fucking opinion is, what your emotional state is. Oh, you didn't get heard? Like, no one cares. Like, it is the most brutal, direct, communicative method there is. No one gives a shit about your feelings. And there's not time for it.
Nope.
And you'll see, that's one of the biggest problems I saw actually in the military too, is guys can't separate going home and their wife and their kids from their troops.
Yeah.
Their Joes, right? And it's funny too, because when you're in it, it's fine. Like, you get in it and you learn, and it's like, it's not toxic. That's what's weird about it, right? And there's people I'm sure that'll disagree with me. But one of my platoon sergeants would literally fire me every day. He'd be screaming and yelling and cussing me. He'd rip his headset off and chuck it across the Humvee at me. We're out on patrol in Baghdad, and he'd fire me. And one day I literally like throw open the door. I'm like, fine, fuck you. I throw my headset at him and I get out. I'm like, you fucking drive then, you know? And then we get home and we play ping pong together.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's kind of how dudes just interact in general.
And I think it is a dude thing, right? And the military kind of accentuates it, right? But you go home and you like work with your kids like that, or your wife's going to be pretty pissed off.
Yeah.
Right. And then you interact with your wife like that. Like, no, there has to be this very different. And one of my drill sergeants was really wise. He talked about how a man has to be 3 different people. And he said, there's the man you are with God. There's the man you are with your wife and children, and then or your wife. And then there's the man you are at work. And he's like, those are 3 very different people.
Yeah.
And I don't know I agree all in all with all of it, right? Because some people would say, like, no, whoever you are with God is who you should be all the time or whatever. But I understood his point.
No, I definitely understand it. I could agree with that. You know, that was one of the things, you know, the main reason I never got super into like diehard into religion. Not for the lack of my mother not trying. We were almost Jehovah's Witnesses. We did this. I mean, she was trying out everything.
Yeah. Hey, well, I mean, life's about exploring. Why not?
But for me, it was I saw too many people using God as a crutch.
Yes.
Rather than a tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it was like, oh, well, he did this, and it's all up to him. It's like, no, you did this. Like, you achieved that.
Yes.
It's okay to take credit for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So one of my
and
favorite...
so it doesn't help. It didn't help people to empower themselves.
No, it doesn't. And it gets even worse. But I do want to... One of my favorite sayings is to pray like it all depends on God and work like it all depends on you.
That's I've never heard that. I like that one.
I love that one.
That's a good one.
Okay. Yeah. The other thing I can't stand is the idea of heaven.
Yes.
It's like you're going to tolerate the only existence you know for a fact you have being shitty because there might be something better later. Like, how about you take what's in front of you and you make the best of it and you live it absolutely 100% the way you desire. Right? And so I feel like humans, and I think this goes back to school, we're programmed to accept the construct and the rules and the box that other people made. And we never go, wait a minute, why is that anything I care about?
Yeah.
You know, COVID came along and I'd have clients ask me, are you vaccinated? I'm like, no. Well, why not? Well, I mean, I don't care.
Okay. So this is the thing that's crazy as shit to me is growing up being hardcore left.
Yeah.
And now I wouldn't say I'm on either side. I'm kind of in the middle, but it depends on which topic we're on to which side I'm on.
Yeah. As well it should.
But growing up, it was always hardcore liberal hippies that hated vaccines.
They hated vaccines, fuck the government. No,
like, what the hell happened?
It did.
Like, my wife and I are like, we thought we were going to build a commune and shit.
Yeah.
Now that I have a business, I realize that's not good. I don't want to do that anymore.
Well, I mean,
I want my own property where I can be there by myself with my animals and my guns. And
nobody ever stays on a commune for a reason.
Right. Well, I think the numbers I heard was like, if you get more than 11 people, that's when you start having real issues.
Yeah.
But there always has to be a hierarchy in places in like communes that ever feel like no, everybody's equal here. Like, no, it's not. Like, that's the thing. Looking back,
I love the line from Animal Farm. Everyone's equal. Some people are just more equal than others.
Yeah. But like, I was vegan for a little while. You
know,
for
so real?
That's how hardcore I was. Like, that's how hardcore liberal I was for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I still have some of those beliefs.
Do you still every now and then like sneak a soy latte when no one's looking?
No. I'm meat all day long. I'm trying to get sheep out of the property so I can slaughter my own sheep for food.
Yeah.
So, like, I want to be self-sufficient.
Yes.
And people just leave me alone and let me do what I want to do.
Oh, well.
I enjoy people.
Welcome to my version of right-wing extremism.
Right. That's been the hardest thing for me is through my journey in business, you inevitably start seeing things differently.
Reality. It's reality. business.
Well, for us,
forces.
it's our reality,
No,
right?
No.
But-
This is what I love. This is what I love. Business, to succeed at business, you butt up against reality.
Yes. Okay. Now I see where you're going. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Landmark teaches that there's two types of reality. There's an agreement-based reality,
Mm-hmm.
okay, which they call an interim reality. And then there's actual reality.
Mm-hmm.
And actual reality is measurable by
Yes.
time, space, and matter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm going to use a really politically charged topic for this, right? So as a man, I can put lipstick on, get breast implants, put a dress on, and society can agree to refer to me as ma'am. It's ma'am,
Right.
right? That's agreement-based reality. But the minute I look to see if that's measurable by time, space, and matter, and I go in and I measure chromosomes,
Well, somebody digs
nothing
you
I
up in 1,000 years.
nothing I do to the exterior of my percentage, body, whatever, alters my chromosomes,
Mm-hmm.
alters my skeletal structure. It doesn't do it.
No, if they dig you up in 1,000 years, they're gonna be like, nope, it was a dude or
Yes.
or it was a girl.
So interim reality or agreement-based reality, yeah, a guy can become a woman. But in actual reality, no man can become a woman.
Right. You got X, Y, and XX chromosomes.
That's it. Right? So business, what I love about business is you can kick against the pricks all you like. You're going to be out of business.
Yes.
Reality don't give a shit.
That's true. I never looked at it that way. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You have to see reality.
It forces you to see reality. And it's the only thing in our existence, I feel like, that it does. I mean, when I'm running a government bureaucratic department, there is nothing to force me to scale back operations, streamline, become more effective, more efficient. In fact, it's all geared the opposite.
Yeah.
And that's the more I spend in my budget, the more by the end of the year I'm broke, the more budget I can go get next year.
Mm-hmm.
This is insane,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
right? But that's the way it works.
Well, that's the way I always. That's why this, with Trump coming in, I'm not one of those guys. Me personally, I like character, and I feel like his personal character isn't great.
You think?
So
Is there
for me,
somebody out there arguing otherwise?
Not my cup of tea. However,
Yeah.
I understand how to run a business.
Yeah.
And even though I know people that have actively worked on Trump Tower, or I've known people that know people, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of a grapevine thing, but where guys spent a couple $1 million building a building for him,
They got fucked.
and he didn't fucking.
Yeah,
pay him.
that's one of the most common
Right?
stories told. Absolutely. I lived in Cherry Hill,
But-
New Jersey. I literally know business owners that happened to.
Okay. Well, so see, that's good. But I also know that if you know how to run a business, you can run the government.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it'd probably irritate you more than it would. Like, it's not something I ever want to do.
No.
I've definitely gotten involved in politics more as far as integrating myself into them for the business and to help the people that I have. But I don't want any part of it.
Yeah. And that's really the problem. The more intrusive we allow the government to become, the more a business owner is forced into ingratiating themselves with government.
Yep.
I hate it.
Me too.
I want a government so small that you would never see Warren Buffett campaigning with the President of the United States and funding the protests against the Keystone Pipeline
Right. Absolutely.
because he owns BSNF Railway and he doesn't want to lose the oil shipping that's coming out of the shale sands down to the Gulf. But instead, we live in a country where he can go stump for Obama, funnel money into his campaign, and get Obama to veto the fucking pipeline to keep his railway shipping the oil. Like, this is wrong.
Oh, yeah.
That's not
absolutely.
capitalism.
No. No, I definitely think there needs to be more small business.
Yes.
Even though I'm in kind of an acquisition phase, and I don't think that's going to slow down anytime soon, I'm trying to build other small business owners up with their businesses, not take them from them and go build them for myself.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help other people so they don't have to make the mistakes I did.
Yeah.
And specifically with like the meat industries and stuff like that, because man, I was a food grade welder for a long time, and I worked for Tyson and BPI. We were contracted. mainly for BPI.
Yeah.
And BPI would fly us around the country on their private jets to go weld on all their plants.
Oh, wow.
And the things you would see happen in there were horrendous.
Oh, I bet.
So at Tyson out in Garden City, Kansas, it's disgusting. Like, I will not touch Tyson food.
Really?
BPI's food's pretty gross too, but it's better than Tyson.
Okay.
But like with Tyson, like those plants have so much power in the areas that they're in
Yeah.
that they're basically their own sovereign nation.
Gotcha.
They have gatehouses. And in order to get past that gatehouse, the plant manager or one of the security people has to say, okay, yeah, you can come through. First responders, police, all of them cannot set foot on site without the plant manager saying so.
Well, okay. So this is interesting. So I used to manage all the maintenance, repair, and operating materials for every craft food plant in America.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So 60 craft food plants.
Mm-hmm.
Coshocton, Ohio is on the Erie Canal,
Mhm.
is the plant that manufactures Oscar Mayer bacon.
Mm-hmm.
I won't buy another kind of bacon. And they have the same setup. You report into the security gate. And it was really funny because I was really young. I was 22 years old.
Yeah, I was too, yeah.
And I roll up there and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, we only have a Mr. Omenson from corporate. I'm like, yeah, you're looking at him. They're like, wow, right? So I walk in and yeah, so you get in, you get your badge and all that kind of stuff, right? But to me, it was like what they had going on was this incredible operation. They have a camera at the end of the conveyor belt, and every single piece, it's not the end of the conveyor belt, but it's almost towards the end.
Yeah.
And every single piece of bacon passes through this camera. And the camera can measure its fat content,
Yep.
how much meat it has, the distribution of seasonings, the amount of seasonings, the thickness, the length, the weight, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't meet Oscar Mayer standards, and even if there's any kind of contaminants, if it doesn't meet Oscar Mayer standards, it gets parted out under a label that you would actually think was higher end. That's what
Okay.
blew my mind.
All
Okay.
right.
It gets another label on it with the word farms in it.
Okay.
Right? Same shit, same plant, same pig, same everything. It just didn't meet Oscar Mayer standards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If it doesn't meet any of those standards, then it gets turned into bacon bits. And if it doesn't meet those standards, it gets turned into dog food.
Okay.
All right. But like I had never seen a more technologically advanced, and this is 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, no, that's when I was the early 2000s. I was 24, but they had a lot of the same technologies. But the things that I saw were like plant supervisors and stuff were just glorified drug dealers. Like they were giving everybody cocaine and meth to stay working.
Oh, wow.
That was only on the Tyson side.
Wow.
And I would see people fornicating in the coolers on top of the raw meat and things like that. So it's just like, oh, you know, in order to get to the
the only crazy thing Kraft had going on is they were owned by Philip Morris
oh
at the time.
that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah,
And I was pretty sure that it was like bonuses and Christmas gifts were all cartons of cigarettes. And one of the things that blew my mind is in the middle of the factory floor was the cafeteria. Well, the walls didn't go all the way up to the ceiling. And you could smoke in the cafeteria. I mean, it was a haze. You couldn't see shit. And then along all the walls were, all through the whole plant was these giant canister ashtrays. And I'm just sitting here like in this cafeteria with everybody smoking. I'm like, they do realize that the walls don't go all the way up and all this cigarette smoke goes throughout the whole plant?
yeah.
Am I the only one getting this?
Well, that's where I think we should have small beef and or just small meat producers.
Yeah.
Like I try to when I can, but you know, even me, like it's expensive. You can't do it all the time.
No, it is. And that's one of the problems we have right now down in Brazil.
Oh yeah, because they're the largest.
Well, they're fighting against big farms.
Well, it's because the Brazil was it like J something or other is the largest meat company in the world.
Yeah. And
They own most of our meat packing plants here.
Yeah. And so there's actually like this whole political campaign down there to prevent these farms from consolidating. But the problem is agriculture, like everything, requires economy of scale. And so I don't know that the solution is to prevent economy of scale. I would ask the question, like, how can we, while allowing for economy of scale, still do things ethically?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because like I'm for the farmers too, you know, like kind of a thing where when I moved out to, I was a city kid, but moving out to Garden City with my ex-wife and learning about farming and stuff out there and about how Monsanto will just come by and check your crops.
Yeah.
And if they find one crop that's theirs and you didn't buy from them, they're suing you.
Oh, geez.
You know, and they're trying to take your crops because you had one of theirs. That's how they control the market.
Yeah.
Because you're not using our products and you're not using our Roundup and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'd be like, you better have a search
because
warrant.
there was a guy out there who would always harvest his own seeds.
Yeah.
Well, they showed up and went through all of his seeds,
No
and
way.
they found 2 seeds from the neighboring field. That was Monsanto's. It was Monsanto's product.
Yeah.
And they sued him and took his farm from him.
Holy shit.
And it was like, that was where I was like, that was where I had some anger. Because then later on I ended up out in Columbia, Missouri, and Monsanto has got their facility right inside Columbia out there. I don't know if it's associated with the college or not, but you know, driving by there, I was like, maybe I should stop and just spray paint that whole place, you know? So I still have my liberal tendencies.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what's weird is like, I think decades ago I'd have been a liberal. Like, I am very much against big government.
Yeah.
I thought liberals were against big government. And today, liberals are the party of the government.
Yeah.
Well, when did that happen?
Right. Well, I mean, that's why I don't know which side I fall on anymore, because I agree with things on both sides.
Yeah.
You know, and I have extremist views for both sides of that as well.
Yeah.
You know, but most of me, I think, is fairly in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of one of those things where I just want everybody to get along and leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so like, yeah, on that, I'm like kind of for defunding the police. Right? Because again, I believe everything grows and grows and grows and gets way beyond its scope and way beyond its power. I'm very much against the death penalty. I'm
not when it comes to pedophiles.
Sure.
I feel like that's worse than murderers.
I agree it is. I just think they should be killed in the act or by somebody who, like, I believe the source of the solution should always come from as close to the problem as possible. And I feel like once you get, it's funny to me that conservatives think the government's so corrupt and so out of control and so bloated and so big and they're so inefficient, they're so ineffective. And then the legal system's good enough that you're going to let it execute a U.S. citizen?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know that they're guilty. I don't know. Once they get into the justice system, I watched someone tried for rape. I've watched police kick in his door and take him down. I watched this justice system get wielded and used by the most deranged, disturbed among us.
Well, having been in the court system.
Yeah.
Personally, in the criminal court system, but from the decisions I made when I was younger.
Yeah.
Luckily, most of it was before I was 18. Is that it's whoever can argue better and spin everything to look a certain way.
Yeah,
Like
and
one of the times where I was facing some time, and I didn't do it, but my attorney was like, "Hey, I got to take a plea deal." I was he didn't. No, I got acquitted.
Wow.
I got lucky.
But did your attorney try to get you to take a plea deal?
No.
Okay, because a lot of times
I almost did. When the jury was going out, I looked at it, I was like, I'll take it. And
yeah, because you're put in a situation where if you, like a lot of times people got a cop to something, so it doesn't go to trial, and they're not,
the money
you're
it
going to
takes,
get a worse.
and
Yeah,
you save your family a little bit,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Back then I didn't have to worry about that because I was an adolescent.
Yeah.
But he told me when we first met, he's like, I've been on both sides. I've been a prosecutor and now I do defense. He was actually a professor at Washburn.
Oh, wow.
So I had a lot of the kids helping on my case, luckily.
That's cool.
But he said, he goes, it doesn't matter if you did it or you didn't. He goes, if I was on this opposite side of you, he goes, you're going to prison. He goes, but I'm on your side. And he goes, I actually believe you.
And that's why I don't believe in the death penalty. Yes, if you know for a fact someone's taken someone's life, raped a child, I'd say rape any woman,
Right.
rape
Me too.
anyone.
Yeah,
I'll say
absolutely.
rape anyone. If you know for a fact that somebody has taken a life or raped somebody, I'm all for putting a bullet through their head.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In fact, I'd probably start at their feet and work my way up.
Agreed.
Okay? The problem is that within the justice system, I don't know that you can believe that.
No, you can't at all. And then the media gets involved and takes it a whole nother direction.
Oh, they're they're next to schools. So I think the worst things for America is our educational system first and foremost, because it breeds just these massively ignorant populations.
Well, I just read the other day that they're lowering the testing standards again
Of
to
course.
increase. Well, it's because not as many kids are going to college.
Yeah.
Oh, now we got to make the kids that aren't meeting the testing standards. Let's let them in now, so we can upgrade our numbers and
Of course.
get another couple hundred
because they got to
$1,000.
keep the government-backed college funding going to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then something that I think is right behind the educational system in regards to how devastating it is for America is I think we have the world's largest collection of deceitful morons ever assembled under one job title, and that's journalists.
I would agree with that. I mean, once we stopped having integrity,
None. I don't think they hold an ounce of it.
you know, that I think back in the day they used to. Back when maybe I was a little kid, but I don't even know because I wasn't.
Yeah,
growing up
you'd like to think so.
Yeah. But I think the 24-hour news stuff, and then it all just kind of spiraled from there.
It is so bad.
When ratings and ads started controlling it, that's when you really lose it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why some of these spin-offs and some of these podcasts and stuff, you know, those are the ones like, there's podcasters solving crimes.
Oh, yeah,
You know, I'm
absolutely.
like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
pretty
that's
neat.
what I thought was hilarious is it was a podcaster that uncovered all the information behind Letitia James's mortgage fraud that she had been committing for decades, while at the same time prosecuting Trump for the very same crimes.
Okay. I don't know who Letitia is.
She's the prosecutor that ran on getting Trump and then figured out how to combine these things together in New York in order to get Trump on these 35 felonies that for having inflated the value of his real estate holdings in order to get loans.
Yeah.
That was the crimes, supposedly, that he was convicted on 35, 37 felony accounts for. She has literally for decades been doing the very same thing. Not a single real journalist would do the work required to figure it out. And a podcaster uncovered it all.
But isn't that what all real estate agents do too? You know, when you're trying to, when you're the buyer's agent, you're like, oh no, this house isn't worth anything. But then if you're on the seller's side of it, no, it's worth all this money. And so it's like everybody does it.
Last I checked, anytime you're buying or selling anything, you're trying to increase the value or decrease the value.
And then I just look at things logically, you know, and that's what
That's not allowed.
He's doing it on a grand scale, and definitely. But that's the thing is you can't fuck with the powers that be, specifically the banking system.
Well, that was what was funny is the banking system
Saddam
was
he
on
trying
his,
to
but
get
they
rid
were-
of his stuff.
Yeah, but the banking system was on his side. The banking system testified that Trump committed no crime and
did they?
committed no harm.
I didn't dive into it.
The bankers were like, we don't know what we're doing here.
Oh,
Every
I
banker,
assumed he was ripping off the banks, and they were mad about it.
no, every banker testified that they'd all do business with him again.
Well, it's because he can produce so much money.
Of course. No, it was that's why I love when people are like, you're going to vote for a felon in this particular case? Yeah. Yeah.
So the thing that really disenchanted me is I have family on both sides of politics, heavily, like actively in politics.
Oh, wow.
Like they're employed by the government
Oh, wow.
because they are politicians of sorts.
Yeah.
And one of these family members used to run what's called dark money.
Oh, yeah.
You and I had mentioned that a little bit, but most people don't know what that is. I didn't know what it was until I met him.
Okay.
And so he starts telling us, "Oh yeah, like it's all the money neither side can be seen dealing with."
Yep.
And it's just crazy the deals that they make with each other.
Yeah.
Like behind the scenes, they're both working with each other.
Absolutely.
And I was like, no, they're not. He goes, yep. So right here in Overland Park, Kansas, there have been multi-million-dollar deals made between Republicans and Democrats to, oh, well, you guys, I'm going to go do this, so we'll give you some money so you can go do this.
Yeah.
And it's like they're just working together behind the scenes for the most part.
Yep.
And it's just like, man.
Yeah.
It's just
No, there
when I
is.
heard that, it was crazy. And then I guess the government here in Kansas has a bunch of silos out in Hutch. And supposedly there's a secret word. I'm not allowed to know what that is. Like this family member always kind of speaks in hypotheticals.
Okay.
And because never can tell me anything.
Yeah.
But he goes, well, I may call you someday. And if I just tell you to go, he goes, get to Hutch as fast as you can.
Yeah.
He goes, we got keys to bunkers.
Yeah, they got the bunker
and
out
you
there.
can live in there for 4 months.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay. Like, I'll just keep listening. And so it's like, but just the fact that those things exist and like they're back here doing deals behind the scenes and not being upfront about it, to me, it's like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
And so I just don't trust any government entity or any side.
Yeah.
You know, because my mom is, she's done better once she got up here to Kansas City and got away from the smaller town bullshit.
Yeah.
And opened her mind up a little bit. But now she went into a place and they had to tell her, like, stop talking politics. Like, that's not for here.
Yeah.
Because she's just so crazy, like, about being a Democrat.
Yeah.
And like, I'm neither. I don't care which side you're on. It doesn't matter to me. We'll be friends.
Yeah. No, that's why
But what I was going to bring up to her was like, before the shift happened, she's like, oh my God, we're all going to die. I'm like, the government's too big. They're not going to let one person destroy it.
No.
Do I know if he's going to leave office or not? I don't know.
Yeah.
We're just going to see what happens, right?
Yeah.
But that's why we all have guns too. So if things go south, we can handle it.
Absolutely.
But she was like, oh, they're going to do this and this and this. I'm like, Mom, you were just bitching about your Medicare going up. Like, Democrats are in charge right now. Why aren't you mad at them? Well, I am. Well, so why are you still sitting over on this side?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to sit on that side. Right. So don't sit on either side.
Yeah.
Like, you got to look at what's really going on out here.
Yeah. So
it's just,
I tell people this story all the time, but I've literally been in a very small group of people that included the former Speaker of the House and former VP. The former Speaker of the House now runs a private equity fund. And the VP and him are good friends. And the VP uses his contacts as the former VP to funnel money and contracts to the guy running the private equity fund.
oh, yeah, that doesn't surprise
And
me.
these are two conservative Republicans, bastions of integrity. And I'm like, they're just as fucking shitty as the people you're bitching about. You're over here bitching about Pelosi's stock portfolio that's crushing the S&P 500. What do you think these two are doing?
Yeah. Oh,
They're just doing it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, it's the same thing, everybody.
Yeah,
But they don't talk about it in public. And
Nope. That's why I feel like Martha Stewart has to be mad. It's like everybody's doing it, but she got popped for it. Like, what did she do that made somebody mad enough? Like, no, we're gonna go get her.
Yeah. Well, that's what you really got to ask yourself, and that's why I always, you said it. You can't. Rarely can you fight the mob,
Right.
and win, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, we'd play paintball, and a buddy of mine was the first kid to go from pump to semi-auto, and his faith in that was way overboard. Because we also didn't play till you just got shot and quit. We played till you were hurt so bad you were crawling off the battlefield. Okay. And so I'm curled up in the fetal position on the ground. I've got 12 guys surrounding me just with paintball guns, just pumping around. I mean, from point blank range, just pumping round and around me. He thinks he's going to save the day, pops up out of a tree line and opens fire with a semi-auto. Well, a semi-auto can't keep up with 12 pump action guns. You're still outgunned.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, I don't care if you're Elon and you're the richest man in the world. When you piss off the mob and they come for you, what happens? Mm-hmm. You lose $200 billion of stock value. Your cars start getting torched. Your sales plummet. Your revenue plummets. You can't beat the mob.
No. But here's the thing I'm finding interesting too.
Somehow Trump does. I don't get that one. Because I think he created
I don't know, but
he's
turning. So
he created a bigger
you
mob.
kind of always, I mean, historically, if you look at what's actually actively out there,
Yeah.
it is typically people that tend to lean more right, that tend to go out and do shootings or bombings and things like that.
Yeah.
But now the left side's starting to do it.
Yeah.
Like they start torching cars and do stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
see?
Yeah. Well, the left is always fractions, right? You had the crazy environmentalists that would put spikes in trees and firebomb dealers, go with their boats to fight the whalers.
Oh yeah, I did love watching that show though. That was always kind of funny.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it is. I love this comedian. He goes, He goes, the great thing about driving a Tesla today is you can drive around with a Nazi swastika on the side of it and people just think it was vandalized.
I never thought about that.
I'm like, oh, that's a bad joke.
Yeah. Well, that was another one of the things, like being involved. Like when COVID hit, we knew it was coming 2 weeks before.
Really?
We knew the lockdown was okay. So again, my family member speaks in hypotheticals.
Yeah.
And we started seeing all these weird things, and I'm just like, something's going on.
Yeah.
And I'd only had my business, I'd started in 2019, so I was just a little over a year in, still really immature, did not know how to operate a business long term, any of that. And so COVID coming was scary.
Yeah.
But I was talking to my cousin or my friend, my family member, and I was just like, things aren't looking around here like, what's going on? And he's like, I wouldn't be surprised if we got locked down. I was like, oh, like the government's going to lock us down. And he goes, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, keep that in mind. It's like, okay. So I was like, babe, I got phones. Like, we need to go to the grocery store. And so we went and loaded up on everything 2 weeks prior. We bought what we thought was a month's worth of alcohol. It lasted us a week because being in construction, we're in people's homes.
Yeah.
And so we didn't know if we could work. So we quit working for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
But I need to pay everybody. So we just came to my house and we ended up redoing my basement for a while.
Oh, there you go.
And so that's just to keep because that's the thing that most people don't see with employers is
no, they don't.
I spent my own money to keep everybody working.
Yeah.
And people don't see that. There's like, oh, you're a big bad boss or
Yeah.
whatever. It's not like that. Like, the amount of money I've lost.
It's never.
I've
never seen a single business owner like that. That's the bad one that everybody makes them out to be.
Right.
Everybody I've ever known with money is literally out there trying to figure out every day how to do the most good they can
and offer the most to your employees.
Yes.
Like I'm
employees, customers, everybody.
Yeah, I haven't figured it out yet. I think we might have found a path for it, but I'm looking at trying to do pension plans.
Oh wow!
I mean, my company's only 9 people, but that's how far ahead I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Is for retention and being able to help people.
Yeah.
But then I have the other side of things where other business owners are like, you're the one that's worked this hard. Why let them enjoy all these fruits of your labor? It's like, because if they're taken care of, I'm taken care of.
Well, yeah, I mean
it's a big ecosystem where we all work together and we win together.
Yeah, if somebody truly understands capitalism, they will do everything they can to share the wealth, to spread it around, to lift others up. All that, because one thing is that there is an infinite amount of resources to be acquired.
Yes, I tell people all the time there is too much work out there for any of us to be in competition.
Oh, absolutely. There is no competition.
And that came from one of my clients. He's one of my favorite clients, probably my wealthiest client. I won't go into it, but this guy was on the phone for 45 minutes, and he was like, oh, that was an easy mill. It's like, F you, man. I'm over here installing base shoe under his window, It's like, I think that's the amount of time I made $10.
Yeah. Well, because as our ability to generate revenue goes up, remember, the cost of our mistakes goes up.
Yeah. I've been learning.
I think we talked about that on the show, right? You're like, oh, geez, this just cost me $1,000. What am I going to do? A short time later, it cost you $10,000.
Right. So that's where like numbers don't mean what they used to me.
Yeah.
Like growing up, $100 was a ton of money to me, and now I'm like, $100,000. Like, okay, that's no problem.
Yeah.
But then now, like, I was looking at buying $1 million building, but then we started looking at everything that we want to accomplish. Like, all right, I think we're going to look at raw ground, and maybe we're looking at like a $3 to $4 million building, and let's do a co-working space.
Yep.
And so I want to do like one of the most fun co-working spaces around here. We're going to look at 6 acres.
Oh, sweet.
Next week.
Oh, nice.
Once my real estate girl gets back from Italy.
Awesome.
So we're looking at building. It's going to be. I'm gonna butcher this, but I've already figured out the name, because for me, I've branded so many companies. The brand and what it says about it is what drives the business for me. But it's Atelier, which is French.
Okay.
And I know I didn't say that correctly.
Okay.
But it's the word the French use for craftsmen and designers and people that have art studios and stuff like that. And I thought, this is the perfect name for that.
Yeah.
It's a little fancier. It might push away some of the construction guys. Like, I'm not going to that fancy place.
Yeah.
But
it'll be all right.
I think that's what we're going to do, is we're going to make it. I'm going to try to make it one of the coolest co-working spaces around here where there's something fun to do. I plan on putting a podcast studio in.
Awesome.
I'm going to put a big game room in just because I want my own skee ball machine, and else do you write that off other than doing something like that?
Right.
So I'm excited. Hopefully we can make that work. So I've got a couple of meetings with some guys to help back me on that one, because not like I have $3 million just sitting around.
Yeah. That's cool. That's awesome. That's super awesome. So, well, I think we've been at it now for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Hopefully it was entertaining.
I enjoyed it.
I did too.
You know, honestly, this is the most formal podcast I've been on so far.
Really?
Like, it was nice sitting in a real chair.
Yeah.
You know, normally I'm sitting in front of a computer or doing a Zoom podcast.
Yeah,
I did a sales Zoom podcast the other day. And
no, thank you.
I destroyed it. I thought I did a great job.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
And then I'm like, hey, could you send me the recording of that? He goes, oh, I forgot to hit record. It's like,
no way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
yeah, because I forgot to. I keep meaning to always put my phone up and like record things that I'm doing too. And I forget about it, but yeah. But no, this has been great. I love it, because I've been wanting to do my own podcast for a long time. Just the time hasn't been there.
Yeah.
I think we're getting close, but we'll see.
Good.
I haven't figured out what the subject matter base of it would be.
Well, I mean, if you notice on this one, there isn't any.
And that's what I kind of like. We've just kind of been all over the board. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate you having me out here, because this has been great.
It's fantastic. I'm really grateful to have gotten to know you from these podcast shows, and we'll have to actually like hang out outside of podcasts, because I think
blow some stuff up.
I think it'd be entertaining.
I have a lot of tannerite sitting in my gun safe right now that I haven't used.
Yeah. You should bring the fam out sometime.
Yeah, we'd love to. We'd love to.
All right, sweet, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, this I think is our second random backseat baller out of the Jag. So I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.